Hello and welcome back to the SE25 cast. Today we talk about Palace's 2-0 win over Fulham, assess the club's summer dealings, and consider just how Jamabi has died. Hello everyone, this is the triumphant return of the SE25 cast, the third best Crystal Palace themed podcast that started in 2018. I'm Nick, and with me today is Neocas.
Good to be back after such a long, unplanned break by everyone, but we'll get it all wrapped up today.
Yeah, speaking of actually, today is a two-man pod because despite it being the start of the season, it turns out that most of our regulars are actually unavailable due to holidays, although
3 are on holiday, 2 are away, some might be getting A-level results.
I believe in Jamabi's case, it's more of a massive consumption of alcohol problem. More
Yes,
than
he's
else.
recovering from drinking alcohol from about 9 a.m. to right
now.
now.
Yes. It's probably still going. I mean, about 7:30, he turned up in chat to post, "I'm fucked," and we haven't heard from him since. So we hope you don't end up face down in a ditch somewhere in Norwood, Jamabi. All the best.
He was posting pictures for those who are on the Discord, match pictures of just more and more shaky and blurry photos as the day went on. It was fine.
It just ends up as modern art at some point, doesn't it? Anyway, before we start, there's some housekeeping and some news to do. We're all very sorry to have left you without the SE25 cast content that sustains your lives and nourishes you as people. But given all the excitement with some sort of international cup competition during the close season, and more pertinently, a distinct lack of pretty much any news surrounding Palace,
we forgot to do anything.
Yeah, basically, we didn't really do anything. Our transfers all came in quite late, and apart from a couple of updates regarding Roy Hodgson's new contract and a bit regarding the status of our stadium rebuild, it's been a quite, uncharacteristically quiet close season for Palace. So we'll be doing a little overview of that later in the pod. So instead, we have the small matter of the start of the Premier League season. Happy Premier League Day, everyone. And congratulations on making it through the brutally hot and Palace-less summer. Congratulations too to our team, because Palace actually won. 2-1, 2-0. I'm shortchanging us. A 2-0 victory over Fulham away at Craven Cottage was the scoreline. Jeffrey Schlupp netted in the first half with a wonderful finish after a pass that was almost as good from Patrick Van Aanholt, before Zaha sprung the Fulham defence on the counter and slid home past their goalkeeper.
Thanks to a clever pass from our youth project, Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, what a man. What's your take on the game as a whole, Nikas?
The game as a whole could have very, very easily been 3-2. We were exceptionally clinical, and Fulham were the exact opposite. I've got the stats up here. Fulham had 15 shots, 6 on target. We had 10 shots, 9 on target. We were clinical with every chance we had, and we made the keeper work. And as we found out, their keeper didn't have the best of days.
No, he didn't. Fabry, I'm not familiar with. I haven't really heard of him before. But my God, he was shaky, wasn't he?
I saw him a couple times at Besiktas.
Uh-huh.
Butchered that pronunciation, but still.
Do you mean Besiktas?
Shut up. Anyway, I've watched him a couple times there, and he's been really good. I think just the moment of the day being in the Premier League, it just sort of got to him, because he's never been that bad whenever I've seen him. However, someone we are used to playing really badly, who deserves all the credit in the world for today's match, is Wayne Hennessy. 5 or 6 big saves.
He was very, very good today, wasn't he? It's strange. He had another one of those Hennessy games where he looks like this unstoppable just wall of a goalkeeper. Really, really good game.
The 6'4" wall.
He's 6'6", isn't he? Don't shortchange him. Come on.
I mean, he's that tall. Inches don't really take much off him. You're starting to have to go to feet to try and get anything off him.
That's what the ladies say about me.
You need to see a doctor about that, mate. That's not natural.
Anyway, yeah, I kind of agree. It really could have gone either way, I think.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. We really looked pretty good for that entire game. And Fulham had their chances, and they could have won it, I think, on more than one occasion.
They very well could have won it. But when you say we played well for the whole game,
yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe
the first 30 minutes
You're right.
We were very slow out of the block. We grew into the game, and the second half we looked like the team we were at the end of last season.
Yeah.
The start of the game we looked like very early Roy Hodgson. We were a lot slower, we were a lot more sloppy, but we grew into it.
I do
However,
think that part of that is to do with Fulham, though. Part of that is, they're back up, they're all ready for it, they're fit and firing, they were chasing everything. They were going 120% for every ball, and it just made us look bad by comparison when I don't think the team was managing their output effectively enough. And I think we saw the kind of end result of that when we were still going full pelt at the end.
I'd also say that's shown in the possession stats, about 65% to 35.
Oof.
We were just able to keep them off, allow them to pressure us because they weren't really doing much with their pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So we just soaked it up, allowed them to tire themselves, and once they were slightly tired, we started pushing onto them in waves, countering them or pushing up at selected times. Because there was a few times where we just had the lion's share possession outside their box. We just tried to pass it down and break them up, which is how the first goal came about. And then there were times where we just went, you know what, screw it, just quick counter, get it up the pitch, try and get it to Wilf and score that way, which ended up being our second goal.
I think we showed a real kind of Premier League maturity, I guess.
Yeah, I think Roy got the game plan spot on today.
Oh yeah, perfect. Absolutely nailed it.
The way we were set up and just the way we played. Admittedly, we could have been better at the very start. We grew into the game and we were slow to start. But apart from that,
we got away with a poor start. I think there was it Mitrovic? I think at one
point.
Mitrovic,
yeah, was Mitrovic had two headers which should have easily sealed in. Hennessy was on his one of those days where he's basically a world beater. He can't be touched.
Tell you what, Mitrovic was quite good actually. I was quite
impressed
by him, considering the lack of support around him.
But someone else who was equally as good was Benteke. I think we saw first season Benteke today.
Benteke was fantastic, really good. I mean,
he had two really good chances. There was a header which was from a very good cross, but it was a nothing ball. The fact that he made his header that dangerous was amazing, considering when it came into him, there was no pace on it. He had to do pretty much all the work to get it A, on target, and B, make it dangerous, which he did, to full credit to him. And then there was his shot from outside the box, which he got on target. Yes, in the end, it was a decent save, but Benteke of second season would never have taken that on.
I was just adding it up as you were speaking. Turns out Benteke won more aerial duels than the entire Fulham team put together.
Oh!
Or hold on a second. At the very least, all the ones who started the game. Oh no, wait, no. Alvin Kamara won. Sorry, Abubakar Kamara, different Kamara. 1-1. So he was equal in aerials one with the entire Fulham team. So he had a great game. He still looked a little bit short of kind of full Benteke predatory kind of positioning and touch. I mean, I remember quite early on. Yeah.
The full Villa, basically. Yeah. He is a little bit off, but I think if he continues playing the way he is, and if he gets a couple goals either in the next few matches, he'll get the confidence, and then we could see either first season Benteke or something even more dangerous, which everyone in the Premier League should be worried about.
I think having Wilf kind of playing in and around him really helps him, because they play alongside each other so well. Each one of them has the attributes that the other one lacks. And
yes, and there was a couple things I noticed is even Benteke would pretend to go for a ball he wasn't going to win to allow it to go behind him, where Wilf was waiting to pick it up.
Yeah.
So even though he didn't technically win those duels, he still made it so he would draw a defender into him and force that defender to challenge with him, but allow the ball to go behind him to Wilf, which I thought was really well played. And Benteke's passing, there was a couple times where he could have got an assist if the defenders haven't done well enough. His passing has come on leaps and bounds since he signed for us, I think.
Yeah, and it's quite encouraging, because I remember at the start of the match, he tried controlling a ball on his chest, and it went about 5 feet away from him, and I went, oh, Jesus Christ, no, not again. But no, he really grew into it. I was really pleased to see him playing well. But I mean, it's not like anyone on our team did badly. There could have been...
No.
There wasn't a single player who did anything less than decent. There could have been, I don't know, about 5 potential choices of man of the match. Actually, who was your man of the match?
For man of the match, there's only really everyone performed well. There were a few star players, but there's only really two I think are in contention for man of the match. That is Wayne Hennessy and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And as much as I want to give our youth project the man of the match, I can't, just because of those big saves Hennessy made. Every save Hennessy made, he had to make. They had 6 shots on target. He made every save. He made all 6. And they were all really needed because they were dangerous balls in. They were good headers. They were good shots. Yeah. And he made every single one of them. And a lot of them were low to the ground. Considering his height, it's a real tough effort to get down that quickly. And he did it every time. I have to give man of the match to him. A lot of Palace fans were the first to berate him if he has a bad game.
I mean, rightly.
I don't think we're... Yeah, rightly, yes. But we're then not as quick to give him praise when necessary. And in this case, Wayne Hennessy, those first 30 minutes, he kept us in the game. Definitely. He allowed us to go on, push on, grow into the game, and then win it. So I think Wayne Hennessy, just for that, needs to get man of the match for me.
Yeah, I thought he was great. But in the just to be uncharitable to him for all of the points he's cost us, I'd give it to Van Aanholt, I think. I thought, Zaha was great, Townsend great, Tompkins, Schlupp, Wan-Bissaka, all fantastic. I thought Van Aanholt looked amazing. He just picked up where he left off last season rather. And that pass for Schlupp's goal was glorious.
And his offside goal was
oh my god, his offside goal. I lost my mind at that. Oh, if only that wasn't offside. I mean, it was really
He was out on the right. I don't know why the fuck he was out on the right, but he can still fucking score from there. And that's his weak foot as well. He scored it with his left.
Yeah. Wait, what? Hang on. Yeah, that's his strong foot.
Well, he scored a few with his right, are you sure?
Yeah, I know. That's what's ridiculous.
Holy
his
shit!
Left foot's his strong foot.
Fucking hell.
But do you remember, maybe 5 or 6 podcasts ago, back last season, when I claimed that one player was the best finisher at this club? I claimed that Patrick Van Aanholt was our best finisher, and everyone laughed at me. Well,
it's getting a lot harder. I will admit, it's getting a lot harder to deny that.
But I don't know what it is. Why does it? Well, how did he end up at left back? The guy's a natural finish. That finish for the offside goal, which was, let's be fair, very, very, very offside.
Yes, but there was also his finish versus United last year. What a finish past one of the best keepers in the world.
Brilliant. He's been so good, and it's funny because you every Sunderland fan you'll ever interact with will come out
like, "Oh, I shit at defending."
He's wanky.
He's a very good defender. I literally, when he first came here, I had issues with him because he looked like he would just try and get forward too much. Yeah. But then again, the entire team had that issue. We didn't defend. And since we've become more rigid, we've become a lot more set in our ways, and we have a set plan and a plan B.
Speaking of, actually, I think it was really interesting how he and Schlupp worked together. Because obviously Schlupp's been kind of used to not quite being a left back, but a left wing back almost much of his career. So seeing him and Van Aanholt kind of like swapping positions a little bit.
Yes, they worked off each other very well.
They worked really well. And Schlupp, actually, best game in a Palace shirt, I think, probably.
Oh, God. By a landslide.
Yeah, I thought he was great. And that finish was, my God, that finish was good.
Oh.
Absolute beauty.
The commentator at the time was saying that their keeper was too low, and if he was standing upright, he would save that. No chance in hell. If a finish goes with that power into the top of the net, I don't care who you are not saving that. And if you get a hand to it, it's still likely going in.
It would have hit him and taken him into the goal with it. It was a great, great finish.
It was a emphatic finish, to use the buzzword of quite a few commentators.
Yeah, their keeper wasn't great. There was another incident when their keeper came out to meet a ball that was running through for, I think, Benteke. I think it was Benteke. And he came out for the ball, took a massive mow at it, missed it completely, and his defenders bailed him out, which was giving me weird flashbacks to regular Hennessy. But actually, speaking of Hennessy...
If Hennessy is ever that far from the net, I just think it's conceded.
You just assume. You don't even need to hear or see.
It was shades of Claudio Bravo and his red card for City that time.
Oh, that was funny. But speaking of Hennessy, how soon, if at all, do you reckon he's going to get usurped by Gaeta?
After the first match where he makes his clanger.
Yeah. But how many matches is that going to be, though? That's the question.
Well, if we look at Hennessy's track record, he has a god tier game. Then about 3 or 4 games later, he has that clanger.
Okay.
I think the reason Gata doesn't start, I think when Roy said it was a coin toss who starts, I think it actually was basically just a coin toss.
Mm-hmm.
He went off Hennessy's end of season form, which was actually very good, at the end of last season. And then he had an all right preseason. Gata also had a very good preseason. I think Gata just needs more time to learn more English and adapt to our defensive players, because there are times when our defensive players like to do some unorthodox stuff. Not to name names, but Mamadou Sakho.
I mean, to be fair, of our back four, it's basically just Tompkins who isn't a complete maniac. There's been times when it's Sakho, Van Aanholt, and Wan-Bissaka going, "I'm a winger," and just running around him. And there's James Tompkins with his pedo tash sitting there going, "What are you doing? You're a defender." The poor
James
bastard.
Tompkins, after conceding, just looks around, and there's still 3 of our centre back in Mamadou Sakho, our 2 fullbacks still in their third of the pitch.
They're in advance of Benteke.
And Tompkins is literally just standing there with Benteke going, "What the has happened?"
Oh, I do
what a signing Tompkins have been. Though.
Oh, fantastic.
We got him for 10 mil.
Roughly, yeah. I think it's been between 10 and 12.
And then PVA for like 14, I think. Those two have turned out to be class signings.
I mean, you're looking at the kind of figures that centre backs now are going for. Look at what Harry Maguire was touted for
75 mil.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Harry Maguire's a very good player, but I don't think Tompkins is that far off him. And we got him for so cheap. It really looks like an absolute bargain. Great player.
And Tomps is also a really good goal scoring threat. He has really good movement inside the box. And the thing is he hasn't really scored many headers, but he's got himself in the right places. Yeah. So when the ball drops in the box, he's there to just slot it away. See Brighton.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because pretty much every other centre-back we've had in the past 4 or so years, there's always been something wrong with them. So Damien Delaney turned like the Titanic and had the pace of the Titanic when it was sunk.
Mamadou Sakho has wanderlust.
Mamadou Sakho is insane. Scott Dan was a great aerial threat, but he really had trouble with tricky
defending
attackers. No, you leave Scott Dan alone. That is he is a crippled man. You leave him alone. And yeah, Scott Dan always had a bit of issue with kind of nimble, quick attackers.
Yeah.
But Tompkins,
I remember Mane just leaving him for dead a couple times.
That time he injured Aguero because Aguero basically beat him all ends up, and he went, "Oh shit," and hacked him down. And injured him, and Man City fans were absolutely raging, which was quite funny. But
quite hilarious, I would say.
It was. But Tompkins doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. He's good against big attackers, good against small ones. He's comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's good in the air.
He can bail out Mamadou Sakho.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he gets better the more facial hair he has. He's just a brilliant all-round player. Really glad to have him.
He's like Ledley. The more facial hair Ledley got, the better he got. They both channel the facial hair, although Tompkins is very patchy and questionable.
I mean, he's got to sort it out, doesn't he?
Oh.
It does. There's
no words. It's just
James, mate, if you're listening, we love you, but what the fuck? You're earning millions of pounds. How is your facial hair this bad?
He's from West Ham. Come on, we'll give him a bit of leeway. Yeah, we know what they're like over there.
But yes, Hennessy. So you reckon? So he has one dominant game, and you reckon it's about what, 3 or 4 games until he drops a clanger? So that would make it, let's say, Huddersfield away on the 15th.
It would be Huddersfield again.
Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? I'd give him that as well. I reckon it's 5 or so games before he drops a clanger, and then is subsequently dropped himself.
Another player I really want to bring light to, who's got a new song actually. Andros Townsend.
Andros Townsend. There were a couple of moments where he went full Andros, dropped a shoulder and took a stupid shot from miles out, but at least they were mostly on target this time.
He's actually getting better at keeping them on target. But the thing is I would call him a workhorse, but he puts workhorses to shame.
He's just everywhere, isn't he? Somebody made the point on the Discord as well that it's not just that he's everywhere. He's also really helped Wan-Bissaka, constantly talking to him, just like reminding him where to position himself.
But it's not just him. I think everyone's actually helping Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The amount of times I saw Toms point over and tell Aaron to get back watching Sigurdsson, who Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Sorry, who? Sorry, no, what? Who?
Shush.
No, we're gonna go over this. Who did you think it was on the left wing for Fulham?
I can't pronounce the second name. You'll have to tell me.
Gylfi Sigurdsson.
No, Sigurdsson.
You just repeated what I just said.
Right. For those listening, I've had about 8 beers. Leave me alone.
Another reason why I'm the host.
Yes.
No, Ryan Sessegnon.
Sessegnon. Sorry. Yes. No, that's right. That sounds better in my head.
As you were saying.
Aaron had Sessegnon in his back pocket. I finally got that point through after the vicious mockery you had of me.
But yeah, it's really good to see we've got players like Townsend and Tompkins really helping Wan-Bissaka along. But Townsend himself was brilliant. I'm very happy we didn't, because there was that rumor going around that the kind of weird human centipede of transfers that was going to get kicked off.
Yes, and it would be like we sell a player on, then someone else sells a player on because of that.
Yeah, I think it was.
And it would basically go full circle.
Yeah, Newcastle would sell someone and then buy Townsend from us, and we'd buy Antonio from West Ham.
From West Ham, who would then buy. I think it was Shirley at that point.
Oh, could have been something like that. Something strange.
That ended up not happening.
Yeah, very happy that didn't happen.
It's the same with Patrick Van Aanholt, because there was the Juve rumors for him as well, and he was like, "I don't want to go." I don't know how much credit there was in the Juve rumors, but if he actually turned down Juve to stay here,
I don't think so.
Holy shit! I mean, I wouldn't know what to say to him at that point. It's like, well, that's.
Yeah,
you turned down Juve for us. They have Ronaldo, and here we got Will fucking Zaha, who admittedly has more years in him than Ronaldo, but still.
Well, you don't know that. But yeah, you could go to Turin.
45 years old, Ronaldo's still banging them in.
I'm not betting against him. I'd love the idea of Patrick Van Aanholt at Juve, or turning them down for us. He could go to Turin, he could play alongside one of the greatest players of all time in this multi European Cup winning team, and be beloved by hundreds of thousands. Or he could stay here and have some jerk chicken and play with Flip in front of him.
Can't knock Morley's.
No, you cannot knock Morley's.
He's fallen in love with them.
He's great on Twitter, by the way, Van Aanholt.
Oh, his PR team must be god tier.
That is fair. It's not him. It's his PR team.
It's not him, but it's good.
They know exactly how to butter Palace fans up. I'll give them that.
I will say it might actually be our media team that's his PR team.
In which case,
both have been on fire for ages.
Yeah. Oh, the new goal gifs or gifs.
Oh, those are. No, you were right the first time. Let's not get into this debate on a Palace podcast.
The inventor. No.
The inventor is not a man of literature and English.
Neither are you. What's your point? You just mispronounced Ryan Sessegnon's name 7 times in about.
Shut up! I'm dyslexic. I have an excuse.
Oh yeah.
I also have a really bad lisp, and I'm drunk. So shush.
Anyway,
just add more stuff on that helps my case. Excuse me. Let me go on WebMD.
Yeah, but if you go on WebMD, you'll probably end up finding out you got cancer, won't you? Is that what mostly happens?
Yes, well.
Got a slight ache in my wrist. Oh shit, it's gangrene.
You support Palace, that's cancer.
Yeah, no, those goal gifts, really good. I really like them. I know they're a bit of a cliche thing that a lot of teams are doing now, but I like them. I think they're good.
Oh, I think they're really good. The font's really nice as well.
All right,
What?
Rain. All right, Rain Man. Ooh, by the way. Anyway, so we've actually praised pretty much everything so far. Was there actually anything bad you can think of that didn't go well in that game?
Well, apart from the slow start, but I'm trying to think of anyone we haven't praised yet.
Yeah, James MacArthur.
MacArthur and Luka. Luka was just a warrior. He just did.
Luka Milivojevic is Luka Milivojevic. You know that
Maka just ran about a lot.
Yeah, and again, those are the kinds of thing you come to expect from both of them.
Yeah.
So they're not really anything bad.
Not stand out, but it's they did everything they needed to. There's literally not a fault you can put wrong with basically anyone on the team, which for a Palace game is a very rare thing.
The only things I can think of are ridiculously petty. I mean,
yellow cards.
No, I'm sitting here sulking because Sulot didn't score.
Oh. I want to see him score as well. I really want to see him do well here because he looks the complete package.
He does, doesn't he? I'm just still annoyed.
But I think he needs a bit more game time.
That goal at Chelsea got ruled out, and I'm really annoyed at it still.
Oh, I think I was in jail at the time that was disallowed. And it's a good thing I didn't have access to the main chat because the amount of swears that came out of my mouth would make a nun blush for the rest of her life.
I think we need to point out that Neocast doesn't mean actual jail. he wasn't sitting in jail watching Palace. Yes. Some would argue that supporting Palace is jail in itself, but he doesn't actually mean jail.
We probably should specify that. Most people wouldn't know about the zoo.
Yes, we have a...
Which I've just called as something completely different, so that's probably going to confuse...
Fantastic. You know what? Let's just move on from that.
Yeah. But no explanations!
My other little petty complaint would be... it's ridiculous. It's the worst complaint ever. But I can't wait to see how the new guys get blooded in. And when we win like this, it naturally implies we'll stick with this 11, which, given I want to see all the newbies on the pitch, isn't necessarily the best thing, even though obviously it's the best thing.
We actually saw Kyoto for a bit, and he actually looked really good. He actually had a decent shot. He should have passed, and we should have won 3-0, but it was a decent shot.
Oh, it was a lovely little kind of no-look chip out to him by Surlot as well.
Surlot, yes. And then he should have squared it across to Surlot to get his goal, except he went for the shot. No fault to him. He did actually get on target. It was a decent shot.
And he was excited. He just wants to score on his debut, doesn't he? But... yeah, there's a kind of part of me going, if we'd only won that 2-1, maybe we'd try out some of the new guys. But, moving on from my dreams of shaky 0-0 draws, what do we reckon about our opponents today, Fulham? Considering
how long that team has been together and how that centre-back partnership hasn't even had a week to play together, it's fine. But they played well. And I could see why they're in the Premier League. They deserve to be in the Premier League. But it did not play like a team that had just spent £100 million. But considering how many people they just got in and how long they'd worked together, completely fine.
That centre-back partnership's interesting because
Chambers got turned really easily for our first goal, though.
I thought so. I thought Chambers looked a little bit off as well. But
I will say that as Chambers looked the more experienced and the senior there, even though he made that one mistake for the goal, I still think he was the best centre-back there.
I'm going to disagree. I thought Le Marchand was better. I thought that Chambers was hopeless in the air. He couldn't do anything. And considering he's, actually, how big? He must be about 6 foot.
He was going up against Benteke, who
was going up against Benteke, but Le Marchand, I thought, did better against Benteke.
Yes, but the thing is Benteke still won the aerial duels, even though he was still going up against a better opponent. It's just Benteke in the air is just There's not a centre back you could really find that would be able to consistently win in the air versus Benteke.
Yeah, it's one of those. Benteke is in that kind of Andy Carroll band of players that you expect to win 80% aerial duels because they're just that damn good at it.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in losing aerial duels against him. But I find that centre-back partnership's going to be really interesting because they got those two who both look like they could be Premier League caliber. But then outside them, I know Joe Bryan is a very good championship level player.
Who got injured, actually. I will say something, when Sesson-Young was moved back into left back,
Yeah.
unlike Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he actually did worse. I think he's more of a winger now.
There's a reason he's been moved forward throughout his career, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some reason.
Joe Bryan's an interesting one. There's no way of knowing whether he's going to replicate his championship form in the Prem, but we do, wish him the best. Naturally, I hope he doesn't get injured in his first day out as a Premier League player. On the right, they've got Cyrus Christie, who looked like crap all game.
And yes, Brian looked actually. I will say this about Brian: he actually looked good. He did everything he needed to do. He kept us quiet down that side.
I think when I can't remember when he went off.
I think it was about 64, 60, maybe early 70s. I'll bring it up now.
Okay, but it was because he stayed on for quite a little while after he got injured, just kind of running it off, and he seemed okay. Because I remember the first thing he did upon touching the ball again was chip the ball over the top for Sessegnon, which was actually a really nice
71st minute. That's when Brian was subbed off.
Fair enough. But I remember thinking that he kept Townsend relatively well contained. And once he went off, suddenly Townsend was having a much, much, much better time of things, looking a lot better. Cyrus Christie on the right looks like a bit of a weird one for me, especially since ahead of him he's got Andre Schürrle, who is a good player, or at very least was a good player.
But doesn't track back.
Does not track back.
No.
He likes to move centrally. And Christie really had a torrid time up against Schlupp and Van Aanholt today.
Although, to be fair, considering how Schlupp and Van Aanholt were playing off each other and trading places, I think there's very few... Considering he was basically having to work solo because Schürrle wasn't tracking back enough, he did well enough to keep them out of it for as long as he did.
I'd say that's probably true. But in their midfield too, because they had... I think Kevin McDonald was... Yeah, they had Kevin McDonald and Kearney, who were okay.
No, Kearney was dangerous. Every attack, he was basically the one driving them forward. And then Seri was just winning the ball back off us every time. There was a few times he actually won the ball off Benteke and held off Benteke. So, I mean, that's a big plus. I think once that midfield and defense gel together, Fulham will be dangerous to stop. I think we played them at the perfect time, to be fair.
I think Kenny's a good player. Kevin McDonald, amazingly, by the way, isn't even 30 yet, despite having been around. I mean, he's been 29 since, 2015, right? But yeah, Seri looked a cut above the rest of that team's midfield, definitely. And we went over how Schürrle looked bad. Just straight up bad. He really didn't have any kind of effect on the game at all. Van Aanholt kept him well in check. Van Aanholt and Schlupp, to be fair to them. It's just, I don't know. I remember, you remember what he was like at Chelsea, and he was a real talent and a real danger. And there was none of that today. None of it. And you kind of wonder whether he needs a really good team around him to function well. Because he had that at Chelsea, and he had that with Germany. And to a degree, I suppose he had that with Dortmund and didn't really do well there either. So who knows what it is? So Schürrle was wank.
He was non-existent for most of the game. Even in their best periods,
just a non-factor.
I just didn't notice him.
Mitrovic, we went over earlier. He did okay.
Yeah, he did okay. Bit inconsistent.
Yeah, definitely a bit inconsistent.
But I think if they get him scoring like he did in the Championship, it'll work fine for them.
No guarantee of that, mind you. Championship, Premier League, two very different things. And of course, Sessegnon, the much vaunted Sessegnon, who was absolutely handled by Wan-Bissaka. Although it was strange, wasn't it? You kind of you look at him and you think, he's being handled well by Wan-Bissaka, but it's pretty clear that he's got some enormous talent. Yeah, really, really good.
But I think in the same measure, it shows just how much talent we have at right back now. Which is because I'm always waiting for that game. The game where you got youth, he's starting to play regularly, and then you have that one game where he just does absolutely terribly, makes the mistake, And
right,
then
I see. the other right. When I said breakout game, I was like, you're expecting him to do like have a really good game.
no. I'm sorry. After his baptism by fire, I don't think you can really have many better games. He got an assist here. He can show he can get forward. So I mean, I don't really care about that. But there's always that time where the youth player has a bad game. He'll make a mistake. It'll maybe cost the team, and then it's how they build on from that and use that defeat to then mold themselves to get better.
Yep.
I'm still waiting for him to have that game, and considering how many games he's played at the Premier League with his baptism of fire, and it doesn't seem to be coming.
Yeah, it's
he seems like a really, really good talent from nowhere, and huge respect to Roy for taking someone who I believe was a left winger.
He was, yeah, a slightly average winger by all accounts.
Yeah, and I think he was played on the left and then converted into right back. It's worked out fabulously. Yeah, although I don't think actually I say kudos to Roy. I don't think it was Roy. I think it was the youth coach.
Youth coaches.
Yeah, it was the youth coaches.
Fair play to them.
Fair play to them. Sorry, I'll give credit where credit's due.
But there was.
But fair play to Roy for actually giving him the
chance.
Even though at that point it was kind of forced due to half the team being
dead. Yeah.
Yes.
It is strange how much of an extra element he gives us attacking wise, because we all. Okay, I like Joel Ward at least. I was about to say we all love him.
Don't worry, I like Joel Ward.
There we go. We're in a Joel Ward safe space here. He's a good player, but he just doesn't have that electricity that Wan-Bissaka brings.
He's got decent crosses, but he can't move past players the way Aaron can.
Are you telling me that the Joel Ward step over isn't the most lethal thing? I love it. Every now and then he's in space. He's like, right, hit him with a step over. And the opponent just looks
There's
at him
no one around for a mile. Don't do that step over.
Bless him. Bless his little ultra-Christian booties.
He's a great player, Joel Ward, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka can just move past people because of his winger experience. He can just move him past them. Because we saw it before the assist, he just moved past, I think it was it Sessignon? It might just be one of their midfielders. Basically just walked past them casually and just played the ball into space for Wilf. It was very well done.
Really, really good. I mean, we all love Joel Ward, but the future is now, old man.
He's not even that old.
He's like 28, 29.
Yeah. Got a few years left.
Yeah.
By our standards, he'll be 36 or something before we let him go. It's fine.
I could actually see him turning into one of those converted centre-backs knocking around in the Championship and League One until they're 37. When he's, when he's like 32, he'll change to be a centre-back and he'll play there for. It's like Clint Hill did. He'll play there forever, and become a lower leagues legend. Actually, speaking of kind of Wan-Bissaka and leading on from that, we had a lot of kind of debate in the closed season about what shape we'd use and who we'd play in that shape. Turns out we played something quite similar to last year, sort of kind of narrow 2-4-1. What? I can't number.
All right, I can't pronounce anything this episode. You can't do basic math.
A sort of narrow 4-4-1-1. Obviously, we didn't have any Loftus-Cheek this time round, who was really, really handy out on that left-hand side. But you reckon we'll persist with this, or do you reckon we'll make some changes? Maybe, if not in team shape, but at least in personnel over the coming games.
Personnel, yes. Shape, no. I think this is the shape Roy, being an old school lad, will keep with, and it's shown to work, and it's shown to allow Wilf to have the freedom of movement and play off the striker. It's shown that allows our fullbacks to get forward and help out the attack. I think the system that we have suits us to a T. It works. I think we'll keep the shape and formation. Personnel, I think once Mayer, and Kouyaté start getting more and more match fitness, and Ayew get match fitness, I think we'll see them move in for places of Schlupp and Maka, maybe.
Yeah, speaking of actually those new kids, let's take a short trip, a tiny trip really, back down memory lane to earlier this summer when we'd only brought in one player, which was Vicente Gaeta, on a free. And then suddenly we had a right little flurry of activity. Cheiko Kouyaté turned up for about 10 million quid, which I mean, given we paid about the same amount for Tompkins to arrive from the Hammers and become our best defender almost immediately, seems like a fair price. We then had Max Meyer, who's obviously by far the most exciting one, I'd say. Arrived in the free before we brought in Jordan Ayew on loan by the skin of our teeth on deadline day. What do you make of that lot, and who critically are you most excited to see?
Well, actually, Nick, you missed one out. We got another player. We got one back from loan. The 27-year-old English, Jordan Much.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, my God. Jordan Much. Jordan Much really interests me because when I was...
Why is he still here?
I don't understand. It's like...
What kind of length of contract did we give him?
It's like Paddy McCarthy. Paddy McCarthy hung around Palace for about 5 years after he'd been playing. It's like, my God, he's still here? My God, there was a midfielder as well. Owen Jarvan.
Oh.
Wow. He was there as well. He's just like, he was there for about 4 years and we played him twice or something. I remember just going, what? How is he still on these like team listings? It's incredible. Much really interests me because I spent a few years living in Cardiff and I used to go along to see some Cardiff City games with my friend. Hey, Cardiff's nice. Leave it alone. Look, you're all Celts. Stop fighting each other. And I remember just talking to my mate. He said, "Oh yeah, Much is pretty good, you know. Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player." I'm like, "What's he good at?" He said, "I don't know, long shots." I'm like, okay. And then we bought him a few years later. Was waiting his entire career for a long shot goal. Didn't score a damn one, so I'm disappointed. You disappoint me, Jordan Much.
Did he even score a goal? Oh, the under-23s, yeah.
Maybe that was a screamer. We don't know. It wasn't. I'm not holding out hope.
Pretty sure it wasn't.
It's just bundled in from a corner. With the new guys, not including Jordan Much. Let's restrict it to only players that haven't played for us before.
My favorite signing would probably be, it has to be the Mayor one. Mayor of London. It's just, I watched him in the Bundesliga play for Schalke. I've seen what he can do. And if he can replicate that for us, we can sell him on for a stupid amount of monies. I do think he's a bit of a merc due to his comments previously, although that was mostly his agent. But I think if he can have a couple of good seasons, maybe 1, 2, and then we sell him on, that signing could prove to be so fruitful just to get some money and some flow back into the squad.
I think there's few Palace fans who
also he's German, which is a literal novel collector's item for a Palace player. We've had one other whose name eludes me, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, I genuinely hadn't thought of that, but we haven't, have we? Yeah, I think there's few Palace fans who aren't A, excited by the prospect of him, and B, aren't realistic about what would happen if he does start fulfilling his potential, because that potential is huge. He's a higher potential than pretty much any Palace player ever not called Will Zaha or Ian Wright. He's an absolute gem. But there's going to be
Marco
a lot of hurdles. Oh, right. Wow.
He's now 40 years old.
Sounds notable.
Mikael Forsell, who plays for the Finland. Oh, is that where he works now?
Mikael Forsell is, Forsell is definitely
finished. I searched up German Crystal Palace players and they brought up Forsell.
Mikael Forsell.
That's literally how little there is. They have to pad it out to make it look better. It was literally just right, but they've had to pad it out with Forsell, who isn't German.
Just throw in like Andy Johnson as well. Why not? See if anyone notices. Who knows? Who knows how good he could be? But there's a lot of hurdles he needs to overcome first before he starts getting anywhere near that potential. But I do remember seeing him because he had a bit of a kind of career, kind of positional change, because he used to be, or at least he used to be thought of as a kind of
number 10
floating playmaker. Yeah, behind the striker, on the wings, that kind of ultra versatile modern playmaker.
But then he was molded more into the defensive playmaker.
That was it. Tedesco
sort of the Johan role.
Yeah, in deep midfield for Schalke. And people, from what I hear in German media, he was even better there than he was.
Oh, he improved dramatically.
Yeah.
He was one of the reasons they actually got so high up the table.
Yep. And that is definitely our, that extra midfield spot alongside Luca is definitely our weakest area, I'd say, right now.
Yes, we're having to play a 31-year-old?
J-Mac can't be that old, right? He's only 30s. Yeah, he's only 30. You
I thought he was 31.
Impugning his good name, sir.
He's still the wrong side of 30.
No, he's exactly on 30.
Which
you
is
can't
still
be
the
on the wrong
side
side.
Of 30.
That's not how whatever. Anyway, yeah, I if we integrate him alongside Milivojevic, he could be
Our
great.
midfield could be deadly.
He is only on a 3-year contract. So if he is going to fulfill that potential, it would be nice if he could do it this year and then we can sell him next year.
Yes.
Because
however,
I don't think
for the club and for him, I think a 3-year contract's probably the safest way to do it.
Does make sense. No, I don't think.
Also, I will say with him, his Instagram stuff, because he's been to the stands and he's been doing Instagram and social media stuff of being in the stands and celebrating. He actually posted something on social media after our win saying it's great to have a win. I think I saw it. It was on his Instagram, I believe.
Oh, that's nice of him.
So it seems he wants to play. He wants to prove that he is that same player and he can still perform to the level that made him be considered the next wonder kid of German football.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think anyone's. I mean, regardless, I don't see that contract being extended because if he's really good, he's going to either be sold or run that contract out. Yeah. And if he's really bad, we're going to let it run out. And I don't think there'll be much in between. He's the kind of player that you don't really see him settling down to be a kind of decent mid-level Premiership player.
Oh, no, there's no chance he'll settle down.
Yeah, he's going to be a boom or bust.
Yep. But either way, I think it's fully worth the gamble, considering its potential. 100%. Considering it's basically the picture-perfect replacement for Johan, and he already speaks good English, I think it's basically just it's too much worth the gamble. Although there is some debate over what he's currently being paid per week.
That is interesting. I think
it ranges from 80k to 180k.
I mean, that's not happening, is it? 100. We are insane about wages at Palace compared to
not that insane.
We are not that insane. There is no way in hell we're paying him 180.
I honestly don't think he's on more than Wilf, because
chance.
If we paid him more than Wilf, we are literally trying to force Wilf out the door.
Yeah. I mean, Wilf would look at that and go, all right, I see you don't value me then, and leave. And he'd be within his rights to.
Oh, no, he completely would.
I think the most reliable journos and sources were saying about 80k, which seems about right.
Yep.
And also seems reasonable enough, I'd imagine, especially since we were replacing Cabaye.
Johan, who was on about 80, 90k. Well, anywhere between 60 and 90.
Yes, on that note, actually, probably, I suppose, about time to
start mentioning the outgoings.
Say goodbye to some of our much missed, or presumably will be much missed players. So of the ones that
considering the age of most of them, I don't really care.
Yeah, but you'll never again have to have the argument: is Bakary Sakho any good?
At 30 years old, I think even if he was, it wouldn't last terribly long.
You'll never again get to see Jamabi defending Lee Chung-yong,
who again is 29.
You'll never again get to see Johan Cabaye's face in a Palace shirt.
That is a disappointment, but he's now being paid stupid money at Al Nassr in the Arabian League.
Mind you, he's probably done all right for wages over the course of his career, hasn't he? I mean, he was probably paid a regular amount at Newcastle, but wow, thereafter?
Yeah, well. Another thing is Johan is also another on social media celebrating the
I saw that. Yeah. That was nice of him. God, he's great, isn't he? I love Johan Cabaye.
And then we said goodbye to a 36-year-old legend who has gone to Cork. RIP. Rest in peace. He has to live in Cork and I can only feel sorry for the man.
You don't know. Maybe he can commute in from literally anywhere else.
You still have to go to work in Cork. You have to then enter the city of Cork. This is not something any reasonable human should be doing.
But to be fair to Damo, reasonable wasn't exactly a word I'd ever associate with him. Some of Damien Lelany's greatest hits have basically been him.
Greatest hits is his greatest hits are him connecting with the ball and it flying off to the other end of the pitch at about 100 miles an hour.
I don't genuinely, as for all of these jokes about him that we make, he's one of the most important signings, I think, of the modern
he's a
Palace
era.
Legend.
I don't care what anyone says. He is a Palace legend. He came in when we had literally fuck all money. He got paid.
He was going to retire.
Pittance. Oh yeah, no, he's going to retire. He came back for us and he played for us and he played his heart out. And when we lost the FA Cup final, he was one of the first players to start crying. It meant so much to him.
You could never accuse Damien Delaney of not caring.
He put his heart and soul into every game when he put on that shirt. He's
every year
Palace player.
Yeah, 6 years he was at Palace.
Yep,
and an absolute a brilliant
tank.
Yeah, a brilliant pickup. As
solid for fuck all money. When we had literally no money, we basically paid him a pittance to come out of retirement, and he did it, and he performed every game, and he did basically everything that was expected of him until he was asked to play the ball out.
Which is just unfair, isn't it?
He's Irish. You don't tell him to play the ball out. It's not natural. The ball doesn't go across the ground. It goes 20 foot in the air and about 100 meters down the pitch.
I am a defender. I kick ball. Do not play ball. No, he's it's sad to see him go, but also he was.
It had to happen at some point.
Yeah,
he's 36.
Yeah, but 37 now actually.
Yeah.
But best of luck to him, having to live in Cork. To finish off that whole thing about new signings, Max Meyer, of course, I'm weirdly enough quite interested to see Jordan Ayew, who's a player that I've actually really liked for quite a while. I've never really nailed down why I like him, but I've always kind of, whenever I've watched him, he's always been there and thereabouts in regards to scoring a goal or harrying people across the pitch.
See us versus Swansea last season.
He's always generally played well against us.
He actually got player of the season for Swansea, and I think he was their top scorer.
Right.
So he actually did very well at Swansea.
I think he was. Yeah, that sounds about right. Was he the one who punted the ball at Hennessy for Hennessy to drop into his own net for Villa to get their first win in the season they went down?
I'll be honest, Nick, that game has been completely and utterly blocked from my memory. I cannot remember, and I never want to remember that game.
I genuinely think he was. But I think that kind of proves my point. He's always doing something or causing something to happen. I really like him. I think he's going to be great.
He's also Swiss Army knife when it comes to positions he can play.
Yes, he can play anywhere.
He can play striker, he can play forward, he can play left wing, he can play left mid.
And that's handy because we don't really have a fourth proper striker. We've got Benteke, we've got Wickham, we've got Sulot, and we've got Zaha, who's playing as a forward, not necessarily
basically
a striker.
A winger. We also
he's basically
we also need someone who can play
winger.
wide and give us some cover there, which Ayew can also do. I think as a loan, it's a very, very good idea. I wouldn't want him on a perm yet because I want to see how he plays. He seems like a bit of a merc, but if he can do what we need and be that squad player we need, all power to him.
See, I'm not sure whether he's a merc or whether the teams he's in just keep getting relegated.
Well, he's been relegated his past 4 clubs, so I mean...
Yeah, I think that's just... that's less being a mercenary and more just wanting to stay at the
We've
top
broken
level.
2 curses in the Premier League. The Scott Dan curse, and then the FA Cup runner-up curse.
Ah, so we have. So there you go. There's another one for us to break. Let's bring in Leroy Fair as well. Why not?
Actually, Swansea already broke the Leroy Fair curse. They had him for a couple seasons before.
They had him for 2 seasons
before they went down.
So, let's not buy Leroy Fair then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see John AU play. I think having him, although then again, if Schlupp's going to be playing like this, maybe we won't need him. One final note about club-related goings-on is that a few days before the start of the season, big Roy Hodgson signed a new contract tying into the club until 2020. Can only be a good thing, right?
Well, Parish came out and said it was as good as a signing and probably the best move they'd made all. And I would hazard to agree with that, because the work he's done, keeping us up last season, was literally a miracle. It was the second coming. But if he can continue that, keep us up this season, give us a solid season where we don't need to really worry about being relegated, and
God,
then
imagine
next season help develop the squad, because we'll have a bit more money next season, no matter what, because we've reduced the wage bill. We'll be able to do more next summer. And I think if you can do that and give us a solid base to come off, and then we get in a really good manager or someone who can then take that team and move it forward with our money and do that, I think if he can do that, considering he's already getting dangerously close to being one of our longest managers for a while, and if he survives the 3 years, he'll be our longest serving manager in the Premier League era. This Premier League era.
Yeah, he will.
It'll be,
because it's currently Pardew, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I said about that
because it shouldn't have been as long as it was, but still. But
the change going from from Pardew to Roy is amazing, isn't it? Just the whole leaving the performance on the pitch aside, the whole kind of outlook and how he presents himself.
Well,
and it's interesting because both of them are always engaging with the media, are always happy to engage with the media, but they're completely different in how they do it. Pardew was always quite
confidence and arrogance,
peacockish. Yeah, it was always the kind of the saying something interesting or being this kind of slight Pardew character playing up to it, whereas Roy is he's kind of quite urbane, and he's apparently quite funny according to the journos that have interviewed him, and very respectful, and gives up his time quite willingly to talk to people. He's such a lovely, genuinely lovely fella, and it was clear to see today actually the respect that the Fulham fans held him in.
Every club he has gone to, he has left it with his fans, with the fans respecting him and loving him. Literally every club.
Literally everyone.
Or the one that doesn't need mentioned, because literally any manager can walk in there and leave, no matter how well they do, without being slandered.
We are talking about Liverpool,
yes,
here, right?
And I can guarantee you, when Klopp leaves, no matter how well he does from now until there, they will slander him. That's just how Liverpool do it.
That's how their kind of chairman and their whole.
To be fair, Roy didn't have the best of time at Liverpool. I forgot about them because.
But you are. This is something that's. Yeah, you're 100% right. Every single player or manager that leaves on any terms worse than great is immediately put down in the press. They'll be leaking things. They'll be making shit up.
Liverpool love the leak to the press. They love
it. Did you see that whole thing about Danny Ings?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This whole transfer saga, I was getting very annoyed about it, but they were saying, "Oh, yeah, Danny Ings Palace are gonna buy him for 25 million," and
it's like we don't even have fucking 10. Piss off.
Yeah, we are so povo. We do not have that money. But it's about 5 Liverpool journos reported that at the same time. It's like, you're transparent as fuck, lads. Come on, we all know that you've just basically they work as your mouthpieces. And
you're literally not fooling anyone.
Yeah, especially since all of our reliable ones like Dom and Ed Malyon and all that, they all came out and said,
"No, it's rubbish."
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound likely. I mean, it was obvious that we were interested in the idea of Ings, but for 24 million, get out. We do not have 24 million to be spending on players who've played about 3 games.
14 games in 3 seasons.
There you go. It's ridiculous figures. Then so what's quite interesting about this is that I was telling this to all Liverpool fans, going, "God, this is ridiculous. Nobody's going to buy him for like 20-something mil. It's absolutely insane." And then fucking Southampton do.
Southampton are a strange club.
What are they doing?
I
What
don't
on
know,
earth?
but I want whatever they've snorted before signing that contract.
I want their money. My God, I don't understand what that. Yeah, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, Danny Ings.
When
If
he
he's
is
still
fit,
Danny Ings,
which is about once in every 4th year.
If they've got some really good super glue to glue him together with,
Yeah, mate,
then I'm sure he's going to be
there's a
great.
lot of damage there. It's going to take more than super glue.
He's got the knees of my nan right now, as it were. But he's a good player, but no way in hell are we going to sign him for that much. I'm very happy that the option we went for was Ayew on loan, which was, I think, our kind of primary idea, really. But that was a weird tangent. Anyway, where were we? Roy Hodgson, Liverpool, a Dix. But yes, Roy Hodgson, you were saying.
Oh, it's just if he can keep the team together, keep it in a position where we're mid-table, literally just mid-table, not really going into the relegation zone, not really going into the upper echelons of the Premier League, that's fine. But if you can give us a solid foundation to work with, we haven't had that in the Premier League since we've come up. We haven't had that solid foundation. It's always been a scrappy fight. We've tried to get better, but it's never really worked.
Palace fans are vanilla as fuck. It's really funny. Everyone else is going like, oh man, I wish we could make this flashy signing. Yeah, I'd love to win the Champions League. Palace fans are going, God, I just love it if we weren't in a complete crisis every year. But yeah, I agree. I think, 20 it ends in 2020, right? Do you reckon he'll retire once his contract's up? Or indeed, if we sack him, God forbid?
I don't know, because it'll be almost 73. And it's a case of...
and
no one can doubt the career he's had with Inter, with Fulham, with us even now, Malmo, just everything.
He's been everywhere.
It's just, no one can deny the career he's had, even if his England and Liverpool stints weren't the best.
Mind you, nobody's England stint in the past 10 years has been good, really. But yeah, it's interesting. He's got so much energy. He's always, it just seems like he's so effervescent, and he's got a real kind of energy to him. Even now, there was a bit in the game. The commentary said that he's up and in the gym at about 7 a.m. every morning for a 71-year-old, which is nuts. I mean, I have a huge amount of respect for him, and I really hope he's with us for the entire duration of his contract. Right, next up, Liverpool at home. What are we thinking? Are we going to keep the form rolling?
Fuck no. That Liverpool...
No?
Just with Salah, Firmino, all of that, just that Liverpool squad just looks deadly. And the thing is we can't even pretend that their defense hasn't improved. So if Liverpool start leading at any point, I don't think we'll make a comeback. The only way I think we'll win or get anything from it is if we score first. If we score first, maybe get one, sneak a second goal, I think we have a chance at 3 points or maybe even 1. But I honestly don't see us. If Liverpool score first, we won't win. Simple as that.
I disagree.
Okay.
I reckon we get a point. Fuck it.
I'd love I'd chop my arm off for a point, but I really don't think we'd get it.
Not only are we going to get a point, we're going to do it coming from behind. Firmino scores via an assist from Salah before Sørloth finally gets his first goal in a competitive game that wasn't ruled out incorrectly by a ref.
I was about to correct you. Damn it.
I'm going to keep predicting him scoring until it happens. I swear to God.
Year 3 of Sørloth being here. He's going to score!
No! I'll end up like fucking Alex at this rate. Benteke scored honest. Like he just fell over and headbutted the ball. No, he's great. He was doing that on purpose. So I
clinical header. It came in off the post of the crossbar, but it's clinical. Completely intended.
I don't know. I don't think we'll win against Liverpool, but I like to hope, and I like to imagine that Sørloth will score because fuck, he really wanted him to score.
One thing I will say is us beating Fulham basically means that Liverpool game's free, so there'll be less pressure on the team to get that win. because now we've broken the 7 games without scoring thing. We've actually scored. We've actually got points. It's fine. So the lads will be able to go into Liverpool without the pressure of needing a result, which I think will help us play better and get a better start. We cannot, however, start like we did the Fulham game. If we have that half an hour playing like that, Liverpool
will be 3-0 down.
They will rip us to shreds, barring Hennessy becoming Neuer or Buffon again.
He does that against big clubs, to be fair. Remember the games against Chelsea?
Oh, wow.
Chelsea fans are convinced he's amazing, which I find really funny.
I was really hoping they would, after Courtois left, that they would come in for Hennessy. Considering they're really willing to spend 80 mil. It's like, no, Hennessy's amazing. Come get him in. Take him off our hands, please.
Yeah, I love the idea of it, at least. Yeah, I think you're right. Now that we've got the 3 points, that's very important. So we can go into this Liverpool game without too much pressure. If we lose, we lose, and we can move on to Watford and then Southampton and Huddersfield, and then Newcastle. These are all winnable fixtures. Yeah, we've got an okay run after Liverpool. So
it sucks.
Win, lose, or draw, we'll be okay.
It sucks that Liverpool is so close to the start, but it's a case of get it out of the way. We have winnable games after that, and we can. Now that we've got the points versus Fulham, we can go into that Liverpool with no pressure, which when we don't really have the pressure to win, I think we play better. Early on, when it comes late, when we have pressure, we somehow become Champions League teams, but still.
Let's have one final roundup of what else happened in the Premier League this week. So we had the early yesterday's game
where
Manchester United beat Leicester, which was one of the dullest games I've seen for a long time.
As soon as Pogba got the penalty and scored it, it was a case of that game was dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were in even at even in the earlier stages of the game, when they were only 1-0 up, they were so deep in their own half, all 11 of them. I think you're Manchester United at home and you're doing this.
And you're playing defensive against Leicester. Come on.
Early kickoff today, Newcastle Spurs. Really entertaining game.
Newcastle Spurs is like us and Swansea. It's always going to be a game with goals.
It's always interesting.
It's always going to be a game with goals. And it actually proved out quite well with Dele Alli and... I watched the game and I've forgotten.
Dele Alli and do you mean Vertonghen?
No, yeah, Vertonghen. Although I'm pretty sure it was an own goal. I think the defender got the last touch, but that's interesting. And then what a crossing by Richie for Newcastle's goal.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, Hustle you scored, which is interesting.
Yeah. Imagine that ball into Benteke. That's a free goal, honey.
Imagine Benteke missing that completely.
See, if it was last season, I don't need to do much to imagine it, because I think he'd done it a couple times.
Oh, yeah. So Newcastle Spurs was entertaining, and Newcastle lost, which is always quite funny. Bournemouth beat, oh my God, Cardiff look really
dreadful.
Really championship.
Yes.
Well, they don't look dreadful. They just look like a championship side in the Premier League, which is essentially what they are.
Yeah.
But they're just,
they spent a lot of money, but even with the money they've spent, it's not really improved them to the point where I can say, yeah, they're not championship anymore.
Well, they've mostly been utility players, haven't they brought in. And they really look that kind of rigid, stolid championship side. And there's little X factor to them. And there's not, you don't see them staying up. Especially
what Cardiff need is just that one player that has that bit of magic. Like for us, it was Wilf. Or early drawers.
They do have Junior Hoylett. Yeah, they do have Junior Hoylett, but I see what you mean.
He's got a bit of magic, but it's very, very, very inconsistent magic.
And it's, counteracted by the fact that the rest of their team is
pants.
Sol Bambo. Sol Bambo was in midfield. Let's put it that way.
The less said about this, the better. Then.
Yeah. Huddersfield got tonked by Chelsea.
3-1 in their opening. 3-0 in their opening fixture. Huddersfield. How do you like it? Dicks. I still haven't forgiven them for
that. Oh God, yeah.
Although saying that, it wasn't Huddersfield's fault. It was entirely the mess we made ourselves.
One of the more entertaining games was Wolves against Everton. Wolves
10-man Everton actually holding out versus Portugal SC.
Well, they took a kind of relatively early lead with Richarlison, for I think because he didn't score a goal in 53 games
and then,
or something. With
no,
Watford.
53 shots with Watford, and then with his very first shot
53 shots
for Everton, he scores.
Yeah.
Neves with a beautifully curled free kick.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And then Richarlison scored again after Jagielka gets sent off, which I thought was a little soft, if I'm honest. And Jimenez equalised late. But
from a Neves cross?
Oh, yeah. I think both teams will be quite happy with that.
Yep. It's a good start to the Premier League again for Wolves, and Everton holding off with 10 men, getting a point. They'll accept that. And then, of course, the Weed lost.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
I was just looking at the thing. I had to bring it up. It was a joy that welled up inside me. I couldn't contain it.
Did you see their first goal, by the way? Pereira.
No, I did not.
Match
of the day is coming on in 45 minutes. I will watch it then. And we are first on Match of the Day.
We are first Match of the Day. How about that?
Which, considering it's game week 1, and usually we wait till game week 21, it's fabulous.
No, that's not fair. Usually it's whenever we're on first, it's because we're getting destroyed.
We've been punked by Man City or something.
Yeah, generally Man City. Yaya Toure coming out cold storage to bust us.
Even if Yaya Toure had joined our team, I still would have PTSD flashbacks if he played for us.
Every time he's with the ball in our box, I'm going, no.
It's just like at a nervous twitch watching the game. Like, I can't do this.
Actually, genuinely, the best transfer news of the summer for us was Yaya Toure leaving Man City.
Every game he's just brought on as a squad player, and every Pals fan just looks at the squad going, fuck!
Actually, that is one thing that really highlighted his decline. When he came on in our last game with them, he came on and he looked just average, just not there, just a shadow of himself. And at that point, I went, oh yeah, he's definitely past it, isn't he? If he can't even score against us, what hope has he got? But yes, that Watford and Brighton game was really funny, and Pereira scored 2 excellent goals, and Brighton lost, which is great.
Good start for that.
Because I'm personally been a little bit worried about Brighton, if I'm honest. No, because
shame on you.
If you've seen the players they brought in, they're an interesting kind of mishmash rather.
Of your pronunciation is going on. Fuck
my pronunciation.
Shut up.
Your pronunciation is going wrongs. But the players they brought in are really good. So Florin Andone, I'm not certain it's pronounced like that, actually, speaking of pronunciations, but they've also brought in Alireza Jahanbakhsh, who's a good player. Played for AZ Alkmaar in the Eredivisie. Good player. Martin Montoya, the right back from Valencia, another great signing because they've been using that 59-year-old Bruno at right back for most of last year. But the one that I'm most heartbroken about is Percy Tau, who is a South African winger with absolute dynamite in his boots. And I'm very bitter that Brighton has signed him because every time I haven't seen him play much. Naturally, he plays in South African league, or did. But I've seen him play a couple of times in South Africa, and he's just been electric. And I'm sad that he's gone to them. But hey, I believe he was loaned out immediately. Oh no, he wasn't. No, I'm wrong. He wasn't loaned out. There was lots of talk about him going to be loaned out, but didn't happen. They also brought in the likes of Yves Bissouma and a few others, and I was a bit worried, but they lost.
Well,
and that's all that matters.
I've just looked at Brighton's fixture list. Their next 2 games: United at home, and then Liverpool away, and then Fulham at home. And Fulham might actually be fixing a lot of their issues.
I reckon Fulham will beat them.
I would love that. Oh, imagine they go 7 games.
I'm almost tempted to go and see that game, because I do love me some Craven Cottage, one of my favourite stadiums ever. It's so lovely. The one thing that Brighton really have to worry about is their striker, because Gleno is probably still their main striker.
Oh no, he is. He has.
He is well past the getting on stage. He's 34 now.
He's getting the
going on
Damien
35.
Delaney eras
Yeah.
of needing to be moved on.
Right, most definitely. But Andon could be that player.
That's a big could.
You know, it's hard to see how it'll go down. But either way, they lost, and that's the important thing. There is, well, I'd say that just about wraps it up.
Or one final
note. Yes, one final note before we leave. It's come to our attention that the club itself now does an official podcast. Clearly, since we create the podcasting fashion wave rather than ride it, this is of little concern to us. But Neocast wanted me to point this out so that we can, I don't know, warn them to stay off our eater for whatever dick measuring contest he wants to get into.
We just need to lay out our terms. Say that this realm is ours. We have the podcast game to beat all other podcasts. Sure, we don't have the most factual information, the best pronunciation, but we have the most character, the best jokes, the best banter, and basically it's not a propaganda fest.
We do have infinite times more Jammerby than anyone else.
Yes, this is true.
Although, not at the moment we don't. Again, Jammerby, hope you're alive.
Please don't wake up in the Thames. Oh, he's going to be going home on that boat while drunk. I really hope he doesn't fall in.
I'm sorry, he's in a boat.
Did you not see the pictures? He was going up the boat too.
No, I've been...
Go in the match pictures, you will see the boat.
No.
Yes.
Oh, he's on a boat.
Yes. He's going to fall out. Rip, Jamibi.
Well,
Rip.
And with the tragic death of our beloved friend and colleague Jammerby, that is the end of the podcast. Thank you all for joining us. We should be back next week after we draw 1-1 with Liverpool, with Surlot getting his first goal.
You are just going to be Benteke about this now, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Alex all over again, surrounded by these people.
All right. Thank you and goodbye, everyone. See you next week.